Hello, I'm Olivia Markham, Portfolio Manager on the BlackRock World Mining Trust. We believe that the metals and mining sector gives exposure to some of the most exciting themes out there in the market. This includes everything from investment into AI, powering AI, investment into infrastructure, as well as increased spending into areas such as defense, as well as broader global population growth. When we invest in the metals and mining sector, we ultimately have a choice. We have a choice to invest either directly in the commodities, or we have a choice to try and capture the moving commodities by then investing in the mining equities. We see great potential in the mining equities. These are companies that continue to trade at or around the historical average and at a significant discount to broader markets. They provide optionality through resource growth, through the ability to lower costs over time, as well as improve capital allocation, M&A potential, and also broader strategic moves that may improve the outlook of the company. We have generally seen over the last few decades that the equities have outperformed the commodities, and we continue to expect that to continue. The BlackRock World Mining Trust gives investors an active exposure to the metals and mining sector versus an ETF or a passive product which just gives exposure. Through the World Mining Trust, we are able to invest in interesting growth companies, typically those smaller companies that have got great re-rating potential through their growth projects. We also are able to actively change the exposures to various commodities, jurisdictions, style of companies as we see fit based on where we are in the cycle. The other interesting feature of the World Mining Trust is our ability to invest in unquoted and private opportunities, such as the royalty, which we successfully exited last year. And it also gives us some other tools, such as option writing for additional yield, the ability to invest in mining debt securities, and the ability to use gearing to gear in and out of the market as we see fit. The gold equities and gold itself had a fabulous year in 2025, with the gold price up more than 60% and the equities giving 2 times leverage to that, with many gold equities well over 100% in total return last year. The move up in the gold price was driven by a range of features, notably increased purchasing of gold by central banks, an environment of increased geopolitical uncertainty, and also the currency aversion trade, as investors are increasingly looking at the ever-expanding government balance sheets around the world. If we look now and we go forward, gold has had a slower start to the year, quite natural after such strong performance in 2025. And the gold price has been somewhat range bound as the market has been debating what the rate outlook looks like in the US, as well as just some of the broader inflation that's come into the equities themselves. As we look more longer term, we continue to see gold as a good and strong diversifier in portfolios, a real asset that protects against inflation, but also the ability to protect oneself against the ongoing devaluation of fiat currencies that we have seen over many, many years. So the gold equities, what has been really encouraging is that last year they were able to capture very well the move up higher in gold prices through higher free cash flow, and they return that higher cash flow to shareholders through the form of dividends as well as buybacks. As we look forward this year, gold margins still remain strong, the companies still remain disciplined, and they continue to offer that leverage to the gold price. So when investors think about investing in the AI theme, they normally think about investing in the hyperscalers and companies most closely linked to that thematic. However, we believe that the AI theme is as much a power and metals theme as it is a technology theme. And we actually believe the mining sector provides a really interesting opportunity to go under the hood and think about some of the additional beneficiaries of the build out in data centers, power, and the grid, which is all linked back to AI. Copper is a very good example of this. Copper's key use is in the distribution of electricity, and we fundamentally need to have more copper demand going forward in order to deliver on the AI growth that is out there. Names that one would think about here would be companies such as Freeport, which is one of the world's largest producer of copper. But actually, There's also a range of copper producers, particularly through the mid-cap space, who are actively growing their production base as we need to incentivize more and more copper into the market. The conflict in the Middle East has represented one of the largest shocks to the oil market that I've seen in my career. However, the Straits of Hormuz is actually a multi-commodity choke point as it impacted a range of commodities. Most notably has been aluminium, with the Middle East representing 9% of global supply, and this actually accounting for the first real major supply shock that the aluminium market has seen. But there's also been other impacts. We've seen impacts to sulfuric acid, we've seen impacts to a range of fertilizers, to helium, to methanol. We're beginning to see some tightness now come through into coal markets, and it's also had people rethinking again about alternative energy sources such as uranium. Now, as we sit here today, we can see signs of a ceasefire coming in the Middle East, but I think the question in many people's minds is, how long will it take for these supply chains to normalize? And how long do we have an elevated period of commodity prices, which may lead on to inflation, and how we should think about the sector in that environment? So the BlackRock World Mining Trust's principal role in a portfolio is really to provide exposure to global metals and mining and the returns that are out there over the longer term. Now, this return mix actually comes in the form of both capital as well as income. We have seen, over many, many years, that if you dissect the total return of the sector, around about half of it comes from growth and half of it comes from income. And one of the beauties that we have in the World Mining Trust is that we have additional tools to really maximize the income potential of the trust and provide something a bit more than what is just out there by investing in the sector more generally. These have included investments into areas such as royalties, the additional option writing that we do to generate income, our ability to invest in mining debt securities, and of course, our ability to take leverage up when we see appropriate in the sector. All of these tools let us maximize both the growth and the income components which are available in the sector. And ultimately, our goal is to provide the best returns possible from investing in the global metals and mining space. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you'd like any more information, please visit our website.